Rimka. I'm so excited. It's going to tell the followers things are going to happen. We're going to talk about some of my favorite peptides and small molecules and how to stack them. I've gotten many questions. People are messaging me. So is it this? Is it that? What is it one? And we're going to talk about fat loss. We're going to talk about immune health. We're going to talk about healing and regeneration. We're going to talk about longevity, anti-aging, how you can tweak it and refine it. And we're doing it with one of my besties, spiritually, a brother from probably the same mother back in the day, Jay Campbell, and he is going to pop on soon. Hi, guys. So he is one of the most well-learned and researched peptide experts in the market. And I'm going to tell you, I think probably, gosh, Jay might be in the 15, 20 year realm with the peptides. I need to ask him. I'm only in about a 6 or 7 year circle of the peptides now. It's a whole lot faster than somebody who heard about it 2 days ago. But Jay's been in this arena for a long time. He just came out with a really definitive book on peptides. He'll mention that. But he's here to help teach you guys a little bit more with me. We're going to probably doing these at least once a month, going over different peptides and bioregulators and different things we can teach you about, telling you exactly how to get them, where to get them, best quality and things of that nature, okay? Energy by far, okay. There is Jay. Come on, Jay. I've been talking you up, bruh. View request, all right. He's, you can't get distracted. There he
I have
is.
these godforsaken things in my ear.
Hey.
Does that sound okay?
All right, I'm gonna turn it up.
I hear you great, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You hear me okay? Yeah, you have a
It's
little
my
bit of a
Bose
tinny muffled something. Talk a little bit more.
supposed to be the best.
You guys tell me, can you guys hear him okay? I want to make sure you guys do. Somebody tell me, how does Jay sound? Because he's the one we want to hear the most from. What I was saying, Jay, I'm waiting to see if somebody, what they comment.
Close to 20.
How long have you been in the
I
peptide
started
space?
using
Is
it in
it 15 or
2004. I
20
started using
years?
Ipamorelin in 2004. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane to think about that. I've been through 2 lives with peptides.
It really is.
Oh my God.
I need to become a sister wife just so I can have you hack me more.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm gonna put this in. I think I need to hear you a little bit better. They say they can hear you. Holistic nurse.
Oh, there you go. You sound better too.
Okay. Go ahead. Can you? Yeah.
All right, cool.
Can you guys hear me better? Okay, yeah, I can hear you a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. Awesome. So I was telling them, I've been bringing them a little bit of the peptide information, and I've only been in here in this peptide game 6-7 years, something like that, which isn't bad. But you have been playing in this realm a long time, and just wrote what may become the definitive book, right? You want to drop the name on that and how they can
still, even though, as you know, stuff few people can even fucking read today, it's still the #1 book on men's health and alternative therapies. I have no idea how, because we haven't done any marketing for it. I think it's collective consciousness, right? Like, so many people have been harmed by allopathic medicine. They're all looking for different ways and routes and modes of healing. And so peptides are like in the right place at the right time. And as you know, tirzepatide and semaglutide, because obesity is the thing, that's like the #1 thing. You and I will talk about that at some point in the show, because obviously now we have all the misinformation doctors. I won't mention their names, but I so bad want to, talking smack about those drugs, and they really shouldn't be, because they do work. But again, as you know better than I do, obese people will do everything wrong because they're desperate to lose weight, right? So they're not going to do the things that you and I tell them to do about, managing their lifestyle, living insulin control, lifting weights, doing cardio, getting good sleep. They just see the scale drop, and then they don't realize that they are not, they are losing muscle because they're losing weight. And in their mind, it's like, I want to be skinny and thin. So they do everything wrong,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk about that, because if we're gonna, I'm cool with talking about tirzepatide and semaglutide, and I actually can't
Yeah,
stand, it's one of these
they're
things.
not.
I'm
Well,
like,
big
man,
pharma
Jay, stop
patents
calling
them.
them
Yeah.
drugs. Because I tell people, I'm like, these aren't actually drugs. I go, peptides aren't drugs. You know what I'm saying? But because pharma has come in and been like, wait a minute, these peptides are like potent. What are these doctors doing? What are these compound pharmacies doing? And they're like, we got to come and make
Right.
our money because they're more effective than the crap we're putting out. So now they're
Yeah.
coming in and trying, like, so I've had people, when I say that, I'm like, semaglutide is not new. I go, this is not a drug.
Exactly.
And just like all kinds of things, you can do anything wrong. I'm like, let's not talk about how many people have died from Tylenol. Okay? Like, I don't even, that shouldn't even be approved, but that's another story. So let's
And
talk. So
peptides,
let's break
in
it
the
down
simplest
real
way, are
simple.
essentially what I
What are
call
peptides?
fractionated proteins, but they're basically biomolecules that our bodies produce for the most part naturally. There are some that are synthesized, but in clinical research, which goes back probably 25 years in the States, there's almost very, very random. They're orally consumed. I always tell people, and this is about, obviously written about in the book, the highest impact delivery system for peptides is always going to be subcutaneous injection. Now, you and I laugh and we talk about this. Most people think of needle injection and they're like, I'm out, right? And it's like, no, these are literally insulin needles, which probably 50% of America is familiar with, because type 2 diabetes, which is a pathetic, horrible statement on our society, but this is where we are with GMO food and everything else that's going on. But if you're going to inject them, you're using a micro, needle, essentially, again, an insulin, a very, very small hypodermic syringe, 31, 32 gauge. Your peptides are always in water-based, which is an aqueous solution. You do not feel pain from that size of needle. I don't give a shit how big of a pussy you are. But as you were saying, the reality, yeah, I learned from her. I learned
He's
from her.
unleashed, you guys.
And
I
like,
can't control
look,
it.
I listen, and I say this all
I
the time,
just,
and this is the truth. Women are less of a pussy than men are. Men are more of a pussy to inject themselves. I mean, I have had these stories from you and so many
yeah.
other physicians who are like, oh no, the guy, he comes to my office and I inject him twice a week. And I'm like, what? I mean, I hear this, I've heard it 1,000 times, so I'll let it go. But again, it's a small hypodermic needle. Again, anybody who's familiar with type 2 diabetics and insulin needles, that's what
Yeah.
you're injecting a peptide with. The hard,
Yeah. It doesn't hurt. I'm going to tell you the worst part for people. I mean, I do this to my dog because it's insulin. And I remember friend of mine, an endocrinologist, he was teaching me how to do magnesium B and
burns like hell.
C shots. Now those are horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, magnesium burning it, it burns like hell.
Right.
It was like, he was
Right.
like, look, if I could teach a 4-year-old diabetic to do this to themselves, trust me, you can. I'm like, you have a point. I need to stop. Right. So this is nothing like that. I think the biggest barrier, I'm going to say two things for this, is understanding these little vials. People, oh, a needle, but you have to like reconstitute it. There's this little process that can be overwhelming. It is even overwhelming for me at times, right? So in my practice,
Right.
Jay, I work with a very different type of client than you work
Mm-hmm.
with on the regular, right? I have lots of children. Half my practice is children on the special needs, on some type of spectrum,
Sure.
and people with a lot of brain damage or mental health
Right.
issues. So I don't necessarily have the population that can even manage any of that. So I have leveraged primarily the capsule nasal forms of things. So I've limited my peptide, clinical use to certain compounds that are going after. Now, eventually I do have to pull out some brain things, but a couple companies have been very innovative, and in some ways they're able to do
Right.
some things. And even if I'm losing a
Right.
little bit of efficacy, I don't care, because I can get that in a 4-year-old, or I can get that in an 88-year-old, and I'm good. However, like you said, there are, the purest, strongest typically have been injections, but we have made some big breakthroughs. They are trying to get much better. And there are certain compounds, absolutely, they don't matter if they're oral or nasal. And some of those we will be talking about, and some of them are the favorite ones. And I take these every day. They're part of the stacks that I do. So individual peptides or small molecules we can use individually for different things. And then when you stack things together, that's what we call it, there's a really big, powerful synergistic effect that happens. So sometimes people ask, I'm like, I get it. Now, it takes more money to do that. It takes more whatever. But so everybody comes into play at the level that they can. So we're going to caveat that with that. So he has much more experience in the bodybuilding, kind of the shredding and the super peak performance and this. Right. And I'm like patching people up post mold and vaccine injury, like catastrophic problems and trying to bring some memory back.
Up into the collective consciousness, and why when I do peptides conversations with influencers like yourself, you're an online gypsy, by the way, not an influencer. Remember that. I want to change the name. We're online gypsies. But the reality,
okay, gypsy. I like it. So I want a shirt.
But the truth is that for you guys who just joined that weren't on in the beginning, and I know on all these shows there's always people that are coming on, coming off. A lot of people, as you just said, have been harmed in the last 2.5 years. Okay, and we don't have to get into speaking code words or anything anymore. I think people understand what's going on, and the consciousness of, let's just call it humanity, is like looking for alternatives now. And without BSing you, because obviously we both have a vested interest in peptides, they do work, and they ultimately do not provide cause side effects. We should probably talk about this just for a second, to get people hyped up about it. But my team and I, along with a couple of researchers who have been in the biopharma space for a long time, are actually writing an article on how to recover from genetic therapy. Let's just put it that way. Okay, using peptides, using bioregulators. It's so crazy, as you know, that we actually have to write the article to hide from Google spiders, because obviously it'll delete my website, right? And I have a massive amount of traffic coming into my website every month right now. But we're also, obviously, in case they do delete my website at some point, we're gonna put it out into the cloud so that everyone can have it. But there will be an article coming, that will be completely clear.
They just cut you off.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. I'm like, you disappeared.
Peptides themselves, in a way to combat, if you've been damaged, if you have myocarditis, if you have, all these different things that, potentially cause autoimmune dysregulation or disruption, we will have that. That's coming. I don't know. My hope is it'll be by the end of March. They're already starting to work on it. I will say, just to get people excited about it, as I was telling you off air today, bioregulators are even bigger than peptides. And for people that don't know what bioregulators have been basically blocked from the West since the 60s. The Russians have actually been using peptide bioregulators since the 60s. There are a couple. They're way ahead of
the Russians are so ahead of the game in electromagnetic medicine, frequency medicine. It's unbelievable what we think we know. I'm like, bruh, Russia has been doing this for so long.
The West, people like us, from even having access to these. And something happened in the last year, and I'm not clear on what it was or what it is, but they're now flooding the market with it. You can go on, look, any one of you guys can just do this right now and fact check me. Go on Amazon and search bioregulators and see what comes up. Now, again, I don't want to make this conversation, her and I are going to be doing a once a month conversation, and we'll go much deeper on this probably in our next conversation or a couple from now, but they're all orals, and they all work tissue specific. And what that means is they have this amazing, they're really honestly somewhat an alien type of drug delivery system, because they're able to bypass the gut and the liver. And as you know, most big pharma, Rockefeller, petroleum distillate medications, cause damage in either the microbiome or the liver or the kidneys or, the nephron tubules or all these different things over time. And that's what leads to people dying from taking their big pharma pills, where these drugs don't have side effects. And again, they work in a specificity of targeting the actual biological system or the organ system. For example, and again, this is mind-blowing stuff. When people hear this, they're like, bro, you're bullshitting me. There's no way. And I'm like, no, this is the truth. They have a prostate bioregulator. So as a man, right, I'm 52 years old, as an aging man, and you know this, but every aging man deals with BPH, which is benign prostate hypertrophy. As they get older, the prostate increases in size, and then it also brushes up against, all the tubules, that are down there, your urethra, and essentially, eventually, men lose volume on their urine stream, right? And that's with every old guy, you deal with that, right? Like every guy who's in their 50s or 60s probably has to wake up in the middle of the night, take a piss. It's part of getting older. No matter how fit you are, it's just the way it is. This bioregulator is a prostate bioregulator that you can take, and I am not kidding you. It's an oral capsule once a day, and it literally targets the prostate by itself and shrinks it. And it has no side effects, right? So like when more and more people find out about this, I mean, imagine what's going to happen to doctors that work in the prostate field, right? Because they're not going to be doing prostatectomies. They're not going to be doing, you know, the green light ultrasound, the invasive procedures, which they never tell people, like, it's 50-50 that you're never going to get a hard-on again if you do the procedure. I mean, I have nightmare stories. I know you know. But, like, so this is what bioregulators, you know, represent. Now think about this for the heart, for the kidneys, you know, for the brain, for the breasts, for the penis. I mean, every, you know, biological organ system has a specific bioregulator drug that works each one of these. And all you have to do is get access to them and start using them, and you will definitely improve the strength and functioning of all of each one. I mean, I know it sounds like Star Trek shit, but it really is Star Trek shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's smart signaling. And you guys, we will be bringing that to you, and we will be bringing the safe sourcing. That's all being worked on, discussed. Jay has the people and the things, and it's going to be coming, and I will be offering those as well. So you know what you're getting is quality, because that is one of the problems. What we've had to do is be often in the research molecule realm here, and that's how we're getting these compounds, because if you know, if the FDA is trying to take it from you, it probably is really good for you. All right. So they've gone after compound pharmacies. They've gone after stuff when right in the beginning of the COVID schmovid, that's when they started blocking many of the peptides we're going to talk about, and prescribing physicians could no longer get them. They're like, we can't get it. We can't get it. Where is it? There's no more supply. Right. So then we're having to trying to order stuff from Russia, try to order from another country, take sometimes my peptides were taking like 4 months to arrive. I was like, it's LL37. Why is this so hard at this point? Right. Oh, because it's an immune system modulator. No wonder they don't want any of us to have it. Right. So let's talk about what some of them are. Let's go into what a lot of people care about more than anything. And you and I talk about it quite a lot. My big fat ass. Let's talk about fat loss, because that's what everybody wants to talk about, right? I gotta lose weight. It seems like everybody and their mother gained 20 pounds in COVID. I don't care what you did. I mean, I woke up one day and I said, how'd I get fat? I don't even understand what happened. Whether it was you really were doing something or the hormones just collapsed. And I remember you telling me so many times, you're like, Stephanie, welcome to 50.
True. It's totally true.
And I was like, you're right. I'm like, so what do we need to do, Jay? Tell me, right? So let's talk about the fat loss
first off, let me just
stack.
say,
Your favorite fat
Stephanie
loss
and I both
compounds.
are affiliate marketers for the #1 research chemical company, peptide company found online, and that is LimitlessNootropics.com. I know you guys are also familiar with its biggest competitor, which is Peptide Sciences. If you get your peptides there, that's cool too. It's always good to have competition, but Stephanie and I know, and we can't tell you how or share this, that they are Limitless is by far and away the best quality peptides found on the planet.
I'm going to tell you, I've tried them both, and I've put several patients on both. Tesofensine and like 5-amino, and I just saw. And they would say that didn't work, it didn't work. This new stuff is amazing. This new stuff is awesome. Oh my God. I don't know what was the matter before, but the new stuff seems better. And I'm like, it's the new company. You're right. I said, Jay, you know,
by the way, his name is
you're
Christopher Mercer.
Yeah.
And you guys can find him. He's in all the peptide communities online, and he's been there for a long time. He's a very honest guy. I'm very, very close personal friends with him. He has certificates of authenticity on all of his peptides. There is no other compounders are not doing that. There's no other body out there. Yes.
Yeah. Let me repeat it for them. So they saw again. So
Exactly. So all of what we're
limitlessnootropics.com, and then
talking
you could
about.
/Rimka stacks, and it'll
Yeah,
take you
absolutely.
right to a page that'll have what we're going to be talking about, right? So that is mine. It's
Yep.
not prescription
Yep.
because this is research molecules.
Right.
I'm not your doctor. I'm not telling you to do any of this. These are for your own
Yep.
research. I research on myself, so I
Right.
take these things on myself. I educate my patients. I don't tell them to take them. I'm an educational firm. And let me explain to you what you won't be explained to you by any
They don't
of
know
your
how they're
moronic
trained to.
physicians
They
that
didn't learn from us.
literally, they don't even seem to know how a
Yep.
gallbladder
That's
works
right.
today. Yeah, Limitless Life, nootropics.com. Somebody's right. Nootropics, nootropics.com /Rimka stacks. I'll make sure it's in the title when I
For
repost
sure.
it. So
So
again,
in
fat
that,
loss. Why
so
don't you
again,
break
it's
those big babies down for them?
limitlesslifestacks.com/Rimka stacks. On that page, when you get there, there are 4 different stacks, and we're going to break them all down on this show. But fat loss being the first is, as you said, a hot topic. I just saw a statistic yesterday, and this is insane, but
Yeah.
73% of men and women over the age of 40 in the United States and Canada are classified, according to the BMI, as obese. Obese, not fat, obese. So this is a serious situation that we find ourselves in now today. People
Yeah.
are insulin resistant, metabolically deranged, and of course, obese, right? And as you know, visceral body fat is the most inflammatory substance that we know of. So all of these drugs, guys, that we're talking about right now, and again, they're peptides. Call them drugs, call them research molecules, call them peptides, whatever you want, have been showed clinically in ample amounts of published research to enhance fat loss. Now, again, it's very important, and I always say this whenever I go on a show, whether it's Stephanie and I'm talking with Danny Vega here right after our show's over at 5. Lifestyle is always the most important thing, right? You guys got to live insulin controlled. You've got to increase your movement patterning. Hopefully you're doing weights and cardio together. You're getting good sleep, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to say anything else. They're not magic bullets. But if you do the other things and you add these in, they can become like magic bullets because they are accelerants. So let me just break down, the 4 or 5 that are on the stacks page. The first one you already mentioned, which, you and I both love. I turned you on to it a year ago.
Yeah.
I got to tell you guys this. So when I first turned Stephanie onto this, she was like, dude, it's amazing, but I'm staring at the fucking ceiling at night when I go to bed. What am I going to do?
I had to change the dose. I love it. I'm back on it now. I got a better
Right. No,
dose.
I got to give you
And he
credit
was like,
because I
no,
got to
you're
give you a lot of
thinking. I'm
credit.
like,
You were right.
no,
And
bruh.
I,
Yeah.
took your feedback to Chris,
Yeah.
the owner, and he was like, you know what, dude, I'm hearing from other women. I remember I told you were right. I just didn't know. Definitely. But every
It's
woman was the
women. It's
same as
more
you, and
women
they
are
were
much
like,
more
oh my
sensitive
God,
to
it's
it.
the
Yeah.
most amazing thing I've ever taken in my life, but I can't fucking sleep. It's BDNF. Yes.
The brain.
Everything. All of
Yeah,
it.
it's serotonin,
It is.
dopamine,
It is.
BDNF,
It
and
is.
norepinephrine. It's
It
a
is.
magical explosion of function, of
Yes.
cognition, of
Yes.
motivation,
Yes.
of mood.
Yes.
Cravings are
Yes.
devastated.
It
You're
is.
like, I don't actually think I need the wine. I don't think I need the cake. I'm actually good. And I remember I gave it to one person, like she was somebody in my house. He's like, and comes back 2 hours later. Am I supposed to feel this fast? I said, yeah. She was because
Get
I
in the
think I'm going to go
chimney
clean the
when you're
roof. And
done.
I was
Get in
like,
the fucking chimney
this is
when
what
you're
I'm talking
done,
about.
right?
This is
No, I know. But
Tesofensine.
seriously, it's that good. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So the caveats
but there's a
are,
couple caveats
for
to
some people,
Tesofensine. Yeah.
and again, as you said, it's more noticed in women than men. It literally will wire you too much. So the owner of Limitless said, you know what? I'm getting this feedback. I'm going to lower the dosage by half, which is still interesting because, as you know, all the clinical research, it showed all the benefits in, again, originally it started in people that were attempting to find an anti-SSRI, right, a depression medication.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Right.
Alzheimer. Yeah, that and Alzheimer's and
Right.
Parkinson's. So that's
Right,
how good
right.
it is
And
for
of
the
course it
brain, you
failed
guys. They
for
were
whatever stupid
studying
reason,
it
but
for
it didn't fail
Alzheimer's and
everything. And then, as you
Parkinson's.
said, and this is
Yeah.
the magic of it, the
Yeah.
longer you take it, the leaner it makes you because it is also a metabolic uncoupler, which essentially means that over
Yeah.
time it increases resting metabolism and increases resting energy expenditure. So what does that mean for you guys listening at home right now? It means that as you're standing here doing a podcast or listening to a podcast, you're burning calories at an accelerated rate. And as Stephanie says, it dulls your appetite. It brings extreme creativity. That's another thing, you know, all those things of, you know, dopamine, serotonin, BDNF. Yeah. I mean,
you just feel better. Cravings
absolutely.
are down. Appetite is down. I use it a lot to help people get off drugs and alcohol. And eating disorders, it works for that. It's an SSRI kind of thing. It's an ADHD replacement. It has many purposes for me outside of just weight loss, right? So I'm cautioned with people with thyroid issues unregulated and high blood pressure. So you know, you might have to, but it's as a weight loss supplement, and it's a pill that makes it really nice. So I absolutely love that I'm on a 250 microgram dose that I can be on a dose that's very comfortable, and it completely does not disrupt my sleep.
So a year. And I have, of course, I'm, you know, very judicious with my drug use. I always go on and off. This is also, and again, this is, sorry, medication, peptide, whatever you want to call it.
Stop calling them drugs.
See, I'm brainwashed. I'm a sheeple. But the thing is that, and again, this is shown in the
I know.
It does not have what is called receptor attenuation. So you do not have any kind of physiological addiction to this. You can absolutely cold turkey this medication. You run out of money, something happens, you can't get access to the product. You can cold turkey it. I literally have cold turkeyed it twice, and I have no effect. My wife has cold turkeyed it twice, and she's had no effect. And as you said, you can start it back up. No.
I've cold turkeyed it. You're not going to have a withdrawal. You might have a slight increase in your appetite, and you need to be aware of that because it's been suppressing your appetite. So don't be surprised, like, why am I so hungry? Because you did a change. So just be aware of that. But no, it's not addictive. I tend to still cycle people, Jay. I often do like a 3 or 4 month on, take 2 or 3 weeks off. I like to cycle depending on how much weight or whatever we're dealing with. But there's lots of research and articles about it. Jay has written some extraordinary articles on Tesofensine, and it convinced me to try it. So I love it. So that's a big one.
All peptides should be rotated and cycled, and we get deeper in that in a little while. But the one thing though about Tesofensine is that if you do want to see the real metabolic uncoupling, all the research shows that it starts happening about 4 months in. So as you said, I would do if you're really fat, you got a lot of, you know, you're obese, you have a lot of weight to lose, I would try to go 6 months on it, and then I would come off for probably 4 weeks to 6 weeks, just to allow it.
Yeah.
It's very
strong. I lost 7 pounds in the first month on it, though.
But I mean, for you, it dulled your appetite.
And I don't have a ton to lose, you know what I'm saying?
You probably just ate less food. Well, it does do that.
I think it just sped up my metabolism. Well, no, the biggest thing, no, I'm going to tell you the biggest thing, it definitely did that. I didn't drink any alcohol. And because I didn't need it. And you know, women, the stress, a little bit of 1 glass of wine, 2 glasses of wine, you just do it a few more nights a week than you can. And then it was like, oh my God, I knew it was, you know, you know what I mean? Like, I know this is not helping, but I really want my Malbec. And I just made it be so easy. I'm like, oh my God, this is so easy. So it's a thing when all these 45 to 55-year-old women are out with me. Oh my God, I know I need to stop drinking. I'm like, you need some Tesofensine. They're like, what's that? I've literally had women at dinner start ordered it. I got 3 bottles. I'm like, did you use my code? Because you better use my code. Oh, you know what I mean? Get your 10%. I want my money. But yeah, no, I literally do at dinner because it helps. So like, oh my God, it just takes the edge off. I'm like, hey, you're going to have to use some willpower and control, ladies. I'm just saying. But so that was a big part of what it did. But it was not white knuckling hard. It was, oh my God, because it gave me that dopamine and serotonin uptake activity that I didn't even know I was missing. Right. I am a low methylator. I do have some low serotonin that I push against a lot. And, you know, there's only so much SAMe a person can take all the time. And it really, this is way stronger than the SAMe. I'm going to tell you that right now.
But they're like, what's your favorite nootropic peptide? And I'm like, Tesofensine. And they're like, what is that? That's not a nootropic peptide. But again, I don't want to rabbit hole. But again, it's everything you said. Right. It's everything that it does
I
stands to
know,
be
but
a
it
nootropic.
is.
And, for people
It
that
is.
follow me
Yeah.
and know me, I compare all nootropics to modafinil and like an effectiveness of say 50 to 100 milligrams of modafinil. And then how does everything else correlate to it? And I would definitely say now the tesofensine is the closest, if not equal, to modafinil for me. I haven't used modafinil in 4 years. Now, I wrote my first 5 books using 50 milligrams of modafinil like daily to, to get really deep into the research and stuff like that. But I don't think I would ever have to use modafinil again with
Mm.
tesofensine. That's how strong it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now somebody just
Yeah.
typed in, but I just want
Yeah. So,
gains. So
so,
let's talk about
so
with the
we'll
other
talk about, so there's
compounds
4 more
because they lead
peptides
to
that are in the
gains
fat loss
as well as
stack.
fat loss.
That again is limitlessnootropics.com/Rimka stacks. All of them are set up. You guys can get a subscribe and save program, or you can buy them all together and you get a bigger discount. And that's why we put these up. And obviously they also have information below. They have the dosages below, so you know the dosages. But 5-amino 1-MQ is it's technically not a peptide, but everybody considers it a research molecule peptide. But it's basically a small molecule that reduces what is called NMNT, which is nicotinamide methyltransferase. And all you guys need to know what that is it's an enzyme that actually regulates energy balance. So when you take 5-amino, it's going to increase the metabolism actually specifically within your fat cells. So where all your fat cells are, you're burning them at an accelerated rate over your muscle cells, right? Which is obviously you don't want to ever burn muscle, you want to get rid of fat. So it's a pretty amazing oral small molecule / research peptide that shrinks fat cells and essentially, enhances cellular metabolism to get rid of fat. Now, as you know, if you eat well with it too, you can also build muscle. Again, everything comes down to your training and your sleep and all that stuff. But the dosage for it is depending on your body weight, and that's 50 to 150 milligrams daily. Going back again to tesofensine, because I don't know if we hammered it, but the lowest dose is 250, which is what you take. I take 250 now too, because I figure, I get the same effect at 250 that I get at 500, but you can take 500. But again, with 5-amino, it's 50 to 150 milligrams. Like for somebody like me, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm about 210, 211, 6'2". I'm going to take probably 150 milligrams. Now, here's the thing about 5-amino, and I know you know this. It leads to antibody buildup formation very quickly. So you cannot use it for longer than, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks without it significantly downshifting as far as the effects that you get. So I like to use 5-amino when I'm like attempting to like be super, super strong or super, super lean. You can do it for both. And again, it's going to come down to your training. It's going to come down to how clean your diet is to see the effects. But as you know, it works very well. And it's also very noticeable. You definitely also feel increased energy. Like, so if you're like an athlete, you do triathlons or you're maybe, into some form of fitness or whatever it is, whatever your sports specificity is, 5-amino will give you better performance because it increases. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
notice it working out or training or whatever you're doing very quickly, a few days, and then you might be a little warmer, you guys.
Yep.
So I've had some older, like I do
Amazon.
100 milligrams. I'm a 5'11", 145-pound woman, right? So yeah, I'm a big bitch. So, I'm trying to get 10 pounds leaner, to be honest. I like to be real lean, but
Yeah.
so I'm at 100. I felt it on
Yeah, for
50 though.
sure.
I did feel 50 milligrams. So a lot
Yeah,
of women can get away
exactly.
with 50 milligrams. And so a bottle will last them 2 months. One bottle lasts me a month, so just money
Yeah.
wise, you can kind of decide.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit warmer, sweat a little bit more when I work out. I like that because I run a little bit cold because of my thyroid. Some of my older ladies are like, well, I kind of felt a little bit of a hot flash, but I'm okay with it. Like, because I've had some, Jay, a couple of my older
Interesting.
ladies have radical pain reduction of things on 5-amino that I was like, really? Like
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. That's
neuralgic,
awesome.
like the ulcers and wounds and it's gone. And I'm like, they're like, this is the only thing I did. I'm like, okay, awesome. And I know what it's doing to the mitochondria. It's the only thing I think, well, you're making so much more ATP. I go, I don't know the
No.
mechanism, but I'm
No.
happy. So I hear, and there's like no side effects with 5-amino, really. I mean, it's so amazing. I haven't
It
had
just stops
anybody
working.
say
I
anything
mean,
other than
there was no side
if you're
effects
higher
other than
dose,
it
you might
stops
be
working. And
warm.
when it stops
But
working and you don't have the same effects, you just kill it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you take the same amount of time that you take the same amount of time that you were on it, and then you can start it back up again. And again, all the clinical literature shows that that's what it does. Again, it's the way it works in the cells is eventually you get to a saturation point and the cells are telling you like, no, we want to go back to homeostasis. You don't need it anymore, bro. So you stop it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you just said, you know,
4.
either
I think
sometimes
4.
we recommend 2-3 weeks
4
on,
weeks
1-2
on.
weeks
Again,
off,
you know,
2-3 weeks on, or you like 4?
Well,
Yeah.
Ryan Smith was just on.
That's right. I do a
with me,
month on and I take 1 week off and a month on. That, you know,
him and I like broke it to the world back in 2018, and we were like going back over stuff that, you know, what are our thoughts now 5 years later? And he said the same thing. He was like, dude, I like it for 3 to 4 week cycles. You know, I like it for sports specificity because he still plays basketball. I mean, he's in his 20s and stuff like that. But he's like, when I really want to be competitive and I want to jump and I want to have really good recovery, I use it for 3 to 4 weeks. But so then let's switch over to, there's 3 other ones in the fat loss stack. I want to start with MOTS-C first because MOTS-C is definitely an amazing mitochondrial upregulator. So if you're really fat and you have a lot of weight to lose, that's the peptide that you should 100% get in addition to Tesofensine and 5-amino. Because the MOTS-C, now, by the way, you have to inject it. But again, it's not a big deal. We just told you guys that, you know, it doesn't hurt. But the MOTS-C is going to make you feel like you're a lean, athletic, hyper, you know, energetic person. Because it's massive. So what it does, and I had a very intelligent scientist explain this to me, is it makes someone who is fat, obese, metabolically dysregulated, have the energy of someone who's super lean. And so when you inject it over time regularly, in addition to all the other things that we said, which is obviously, you know, cleaning up your lifestyle, training, doing cardio. And I know it's harder for heavier people because they don't have the energy. MOTS-C is going to give you the energy, 100%. And it's also going to, again, increase through mitochondrial uncoupling fat loss. So look, if you're a heavy person and you start off with Tesofensine, 5-amino, and MOTS-C, you're going to have dramatic weight loss in 4 to 6 weeks. Again, assuming you do everything else right that we talk about. There's no doubt about it. If you want to throw in the other 2 peptides that are in here, which, you know, a lot of times, as you know, stuff, they combine them anyway, and Limitless does in the fat loss stack, which is Ipamorelin and CJC-1295. Everybody knows about growth hormone. I don't have to tell you guys about growth hormone. If you combine Ipamorelin and CJC-1295 and you buy it from Limitless in the stack that they give you in a vial, that's as close to mimicking a growth hormone release or secretion than any other peptide. Okay, there's another peptide that is not even in here because you can't buy it, as you know, as a research chemical company, is Tesomerelin, which is now a clinically FDA-approved drug for HIV lipodystrophy for men and wasting in men. Lipodystrophy is, you know, visceral body fat around the midsection. That's an awesome peptide to rip through that. But since you can't technically get it, at least right now, from Limitless, you know, those are the next best options. But IPA and CJC, if you buy it together, would also be just another shot that you would take at night before you go to bed to increase sleep, to improve your skin quality, and again, just increase growth hormone release, which over time is also going to increase fat loss. But I don't think that a really heavy person needs anything more than Teso, MOTS-C, and 5-amino 1-MQ. Again, that's my kind of theory. If you're more into performance, then yes, you would probably want all of these, and that's why we put them together in one stack.
Yeah. Yeah, love it, love it.
You can,
and honestly, you know, I know nobody can get
Tessa
Testosterone anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I always kind of, well, I always think of that more like a guy hormone. Listen, I always think of more like a guy peptide because all the women I want to put on IPA anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well,
and I get great results, but it is a guy. It is definitely designed for men. It's for belly fat. It's literally designed to rip through belly fat, and those other drugs, you know, MOTS-C, 5-amino, and Tessa together as a woman are going to give a much better effect. You know, to throw in my wife, when we first met back in 2012, a lot of these peptides were not available, but Ipamorelin was, and that was the peptide that I gave my wife, and my wife made a radical physique transformation in 6 months of using Ipamorelin. Now, granted, my wife has very amazing genetics. I'm not going to lie. She obviously works hard in the gym, but her family was like so blown away after she was using. They freaked out and they accused her of using steroids, and then I was like some drug dealer, and, you know, all this other bullshit. Because, I mean, it was back in 2012 and no one even knew what peptides were. You know what I mean? But she used Ipamorelin for 6 months and it radically changed her physique. So, again, if your lifestyle is dialed in, it will help you. And I also think that, again, if I'm using one individual peptide and I'm a woman and I want to use it like forever, that's the peptide that I would use because, again, it's one shot at night before bed. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to remember to do anything else. You know, you can get somebody to reconstitute for you and just literally just put the needle in and you inject it before you go to bed. And it's a
Yeah.
very good, you know, it's a very good sleep inducer. And again, a lot of women get a really
Yeah.
good result from a very low dose of Ipamorelin.
Yeah.
All right, which one do you want to go to now? Okay, perfect.
Cool. Cool. Talk about the longevity one since it's short and
So the
sweet and it's a good
longevity
price. People
stack
don't
is
have to do it
something that
very
my wife and
often,
I
and
actually
why
have
some people
just
want to do
started in the
these,
last
you know.
year. I mean, again, I've known about them forever, but it's just, you know, it was like there's two type of peptides where they were like hard to get. A lot of peptide suppliers didn't have them. As you know, TaylorMade was supplying them to the clinical community before they went down. But it's very difficult to get those from a compound pharmacy now. They're also extremely expensive. Limitless has there are two peptides specifically in the stack. One is called Epitalon, and the other one is called Thymalin. Epitalon works by increasing the functionality of telomerase, which is the enzyme that is responsible for the lengthening and shortening of your telomeres as you age, right? Like I think everybody knows that, you know, as we get older, the shorter our telomeres become, the faster we become the faster we cellularly age. So this peptide, literally, no exaggeration, by injecting it, strengthens the functionality of telomerase so that your enzymes or the end caps on your telomeres don't shorten at the rate that normal people do in aging. So in theory, and it's not just theory now, it's clearly in practice, the more that you use Epitalon, and I'll get the Thymalin in a second, combined together, and you only have to do one cycle a year. If you're over the age of 55, it's recommended that you do two. You will literally enhance your biological age as you age. Now, I think most of you guys know what your biological age is. It's not your chronological age. It's the cellular health of your, the cellular age of your health, or the age of your cells. Yep, that's
I want you guys to hear that. One cycle a year, okay? So it's a one short little thing, and that's how
permanent.
powerful it is because it's causing like this permanent reversal of things. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the thing that's different about peptides. They're strong signal molecules that some are very short periods of time, some you can stay on a long time, some, you know, like they are very different how you use them.
And
okay, so that's Epitalon, yep.
Epitalon together actually enhances the synergy of them both used if you use them in isolation. So yes, you can use each in isolation and get good effect, but together they work even better. So what Thymalin does is it increases and restores the function of your thymus gland. Now, most of you guys who know a little bit about your body know that the thymus gland is what regulates immunity, right? So as you get older, the thymus gland shrinks, immunity by and large is reduced. Also living in the age now of the bioweapon and every other thing that the fucking demons are sending after us, you want to have strong immunity. These are the two peptides, if you use them, will dramatically improve your immunity. If you're flying a lot, you know, you travel the world for your business or your job or whatever it is, these are the two peptides that you absolutely 100% want to use. There's another one that's in the immunity stack, which we'll get to in a second, thymosin alpha-1 or TA1, that's another one that you would throw in there. But for longevity, these are the two products, Epitalon and Thymalin. And as you said, once a year if you're under age of 55, and if you're over 55, it's probably better if you do two. So every 6 months you would do it. And like you said, 7 to 10 days. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't done it. I've been wanting to do Epitalon for a long time. And so like, this is a great price. I mean, it's like $260 for that cycle, you guys, to get those two together. I'm like, oh my God, because it was hard to get it before. And it was very hard. So now I'm like, I just turned 50 and I saw the stack. I'm like, oh, I am so buying that with my that's mama's next little stack, because let's turn it back a little bit.
It is important that
and
people
that's a nice treat
you know,
for myself.
Again, now,
one
they
time,
do have an expectation that they see something or they feel something, you know, within 7 to 10 days. With both of those, you're not going to feel or see anything. Now, some people will say that they feel better energy, cellular energy, which is definitely possibly true, but it might also be placebo. But again, if you do your biological age test and you do it like once a year, and you're doing that once, if not twice a year, you're definitely going to notice a reduction in or improvement in your cellular health, or reduction in your biological age for sure, 100%. And you can, I think you know this, for you guys that don't know what that is, you can go to truediagnostic.com, TRU, and then the other one is, what is it, Glycanage. So there's two of them out there now that you can do, you know, go get your biological age. They're like $300, $350, and it tells you the cellular health, or the age of your cells. It's actually a pretty cool test. I mean, it's definitely worth doing one time. Okay, so let's jump into immunity. So immunity is also huge, right? I mean, we're living in the age of bioweapons. You already mentioned LL37. The three strongest immune boosting peptides are, and people will debate this, but they're thymosin alpha 1, which, by the way, you know this, it's FDA approved. Okay. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, they might call it TA1, you guys. I know people who have reverse Hashimoto's with that. Just
shit.
that one alone. I was like, wow. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. TA1, thymosin alpha 1.
The most powerful de novo peptide in that is antibacterial, antifungal, and antimicrobial, right? So like if you're sick, if you got Lyme's, you know, you got poison, you got heavy metal toxicity, mold, as you said before, like you need to have LL37 in your house at all fucking times. Like literally, you should not go home without it.
Yeah. But let me say this though, Jay, if you have one of these acute, if they're acute, we don't usually pull the gun on that one first. It's that strong. So usually you're going to work with a clinician who can help stack this for you. That's usually not the first thing we do. I'm one of those. I mean, you know, and most of my friends are those, right? So I'm just saying that probably your insurance won't pay for it. I'm going to most likely your insurance using physician won't know anything about this. Just going to let you know. People always ask, how do I find? Well, insurance means they're a shitty doctor. Correct. People who've been taking cash for 20-something years, like myself, and are still in the business and have 6 and 7 and 6 month waiting lists, probably because we know what we're doing.
Right.
Because I don't get my patients because an insurance company forces them to come to me. That's not how it works. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And it's, you know, I took one of my courses in peptide therapy. One course was $4,000. Like, it's not free to learn how to do this, you guys, just so you know. But anyway, I say that you can talk about VIP next, but these are your stronger stacks. Right. I just don't want somebody who's acutely laying around ill and not doing anything starting with this, because your die-off could be very uncomfortable. Okay?
Under the guidance of a physician that knows what the fuck they're doing, 100%. You do not buy VIP. No,
yeah,
and that's great.
If you're super healthy, it's a little bit different, and the dosing's different.
But if you again are immunity compromised from a toxicity event, first make sure you're working with Stephanie or a physician of her caliber, and then B, investigate LL37 and VIP. Now let me just say again, VIP is now used in comorbid elderly people who have late COVID or on near death COVID. They've been diagnosed with like fatal or end stage COVID or whatever, because it massively reduces high blood pressure and it increases oxygenation to the lungs. It's an unbelievable peptide in what it does. And by the way, I had this conversation with you because I dealt this with my mom, and my mom is morbidly obese, and the fact that she's alive, it's a miracle. She's been through COVID a couple of times. She's been through the whole Atlanta. The last time she was like at the Emory deal, they gave them the fucking, what is the drug that they give all the end stage COVID patients so they hope remdesivir! My mom was on remdesivir!
The remdesivir, I think.
I was literally telling my mom and dad, I'm like, Mom,
this is after. Can't stand that place. Emory is the worst.
And in the first article on Forbes about remdesivir is this. It says, well, remdesivir has this unsettling or disturbing side effect of usually killing the patient. It cures COVID.
Right. Yeah. But that's our go-to. That's our go-to.
My mom was in the hospital.
That's what we're gonna do.
Under whatever. I mean, I thought she'd be gone, dude. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Dude, my dad.
But Fauci's a genius.
He literally was
He's a genius.
That's the drug that Trump was promoting. I was like, okay, I'm out. Okay, but all right, so we have like 8 more minutes. So there's one other one. So I want to go to healing.
Okay, so that was immunity. What's the healing? You want to go to the Wolverine,
stack. This is not BS. That's perfect. Perfect.
Of
No
course, my
problem.
yard
We
guy
have
just
plenty of
pulls up
time.
right now. If you
But
guys hear the
and
blower,
as you
I'm so
know, this is the
sorry.
truth.
5 o'clock at night.
These are the most profound
Okay.
peptides. There's nothing that will heal soft tissue injury better in the whole world than TB 500 and BPC 157. BPC 157 stands for Body Protective Compound. Now, I want people to understand this. There are a lot of.
But
Yep.
it's a practice favorite of mine. I swear almost everybody goes on it. I got 4-year-olds on it. I got, you know, every autistic child's going on it. Every ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, diverticulitis, any gut issue, we're on this, period, right? But yeah.
Because BPC 157
Okay, I'm sorry.
is only good orally for all those things you just said. It's not good if you tear your elbow or your shoulder or your ankle or your knee. Exactly. It'll give you something. Yes.
It's not as effective, Jay, but I'll tell you, it works. It works. Listen, because if you are low in gastric production, you aren't getting it systemically, and you can get some benefit. You absolutely can. There is benefit, but would it be better to inject? Absolutely. But I can't get my 78-year-old mother to inject, and so you know what I'm saying?
It's the brand. It's the brand, right? So it's just you make sure.
I'm sorry,
like,
honey.
again,
Say
Limitless has amidate, and amidate.
A lot of crappy brands are out there. Absolutely.
Effective for up to 90 minutes inside the microbiome, and that's why you want it to disseminate across the cell walls with that formulation. So yes, you can take oral and you will get an effect, no doubt. But like again, I don't want to throw shade on seeds. No, there's not enough.
No, let's say there's a that one doesn't work. I mean, anybody who uses it, everybody who uses it, they say, "Oh, I tried it and it didn't work." I'm like, "Which one are you using?" I'm like, "Yeah, because that's not real."
It is what it is.
So yeah,
it is what it is. But that's exactly
it
right.
just is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't work.
That have a really bad ankle injury and you're not afraid to inject a 32 gauge needle that will feel like nothing. I mean, it's a mosquito bite hurts more. You know, if you inject it locally, you will get rapid healing, like literally rapid healing. TB5.
Yeah,
exactly.
And really good orthopedic guys. There's a lot of my friends who are like, they're doing PRP or exosomes and ozone. They'll take it into like really in there, and you got to go to them to do it. And they'll get the BPC. They'll do these little stack compounds. Like we'll stack the BPC with, you know, some stem cells or whatever, and it can be unbelievable. Like
it's funny you said that
like no more rotator cuff surgeries needed and stuff like that.
These days,
right?
Because an older patient who has a reconstruction, you know, do I do a $60,000 surgery that costs that person out of pocket for $4 or $5 grand if they have really good benefits, or do I load them up with $500 or $600 with a BPC and TB 500 for 6 months, right? Because as you know, they can regenerate the cells, but that's another story for another day. TB 500 is thymosin beta 500, and that is a massive anti-inflammatory or inflammation suppressor and an angiogenic peptide. So when you take TB 500 and BPC 157 together, you will have massive restoration of the cells. And then I'll just throw in, and then, you know, you can take questions here for a couple minutes. GHK-Cu, which is copper peptide, which you know about, you know, you sold previous. Exactly. There's nothing better than copper peptide.
I put it on my face this morning.
For eliminating fine lines and wrinkles, for if you have rosacea, obviously for hair, you know,
hair.
So GHK-Cu is what we call
the
SAM-WOW peptide.
It's systemic healing too.
For so many different things, but most people do use it for skin health and regrowth of hair. But again, it's also, you know, again, and you're not allowed, the FDA doesn't like me saying this, but if you have a 3% grade of a GHK-Cu and you have a sprain or an ankle injury or again, an elbow injury or even a wrist injury, you can put it on transdermally and it will help to reheal because again, it's very powerful angiogenically, which means it brings red blood cell and lymph back to the area, which speeds the rate of healing. Done. Questions?
Yeah. Awesome. Oh man, let's see. What is it called that I put on my face? Well, it's I'll send it. I'll put a link down there. It's all in my store, honey. But there's lots of peptides are very big in skincare, you guys.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of making sure you have a company that's really high quality. People can say all the time something's in something and it's the wrong. They can put something in, but it's not enough of it. It's not a therapeutic dose. It's not the right quality. So you have to be really careful with that. Like I said, there's a lot of shenanigans that go on in any supplement, or it could be an herb. They're lying, right? They could be, well, it's from that plant. It's the totally inactive. It's a seed versus the leaf, or so there's a lot of shenanigans that's going on. So people are kind of chatting away down here. It's okay. It's a little fast, Jude. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to have, when I repost it, there's a comment in there that has the link. That link takes you to a landing page where this is all explained actually for you. It'll have each stack put there. You scroll down. There's basic explanations. There's dosing, all of these things. And I've been doing other videos. It is fast because he's got to jump off and do another call with my good friend, Danny Vega. So if you want to hear more, go ahead and follow Danny Vega. .ms, I believe he is, Keto King, another gorgeous. You're going to watch two stacked and jacked real men talk about a little bit of something. They're going to go ahead, kind of, you guys are stacked and jacked, man. I love it. It's just, you guys are the kind of examples, again, when these women, it's supposed to be International Women's Day, whatever, and they say all this crap about, these new men. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who are you guys talking to? Because if you see the circle of men that are around me, I'm like, look at them. I mean, I roll with ballers, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? I go, they're stacked and jacked, and I am always safe, and I am always protected, and I am always contained and respected.
Right.
I have real men never disrespect a real woman. So they're never threatened, and I'm never threatened by them. So God bless all of you amazing men like you, Jay and Danny. So those of you who want to hear more, go over there. But I'm going to post this, and I will have the link that goes and explains really nicely. Jay did a gorgeous job explaining things. So, because again, these are research molecules. You are taking things on yourself. I am not your doctor. I cannot be dosing. If you want customize educational care with me, then you contact my office at drrimka.com, and I'm more than happy to help you. Okay? But I can't be doing that in the DMs. It's not fair to you or to me, and I have a license that I need to protect as well. Okay?
I will. Take care.
All right. Jay, thank you. I love you.